What's up, guys? Big Rob here at Chaos Nutrition, coming to you from the Valley of the No Sun. That's right, we got another video coming to you after the gym. Sunset's early out here in the valley. Topic of discussion, my 2 cents on CBum and Sam Sulek and their rise to fitness elite stardom. Let's just jump right into it. First off, this view is the Sam Sulek view. So I'm gonna pay homage to the young man and give you a view of my own. And to those that like to joke around and call people obese, I'm sure my gut's a lot smaller than yours. And I can at least show my size off, unlike your fake accounts that just run around and troll people. But I digress. I'm gonna keep this video fairly short, I hope. And where I'm going with the video is I've heard a lot of comparisons between these two guys and the likes of Rich Piana. In times past, social media wasn't as large as it is now, right? A lot of the things that are going on in today's world are because people have more access to certain things. And what am I talking about? Well, let's take a guy like Chris Bumstead. Now, granted, he's got a pretty decent platform. A lot of people know him in the bodybuilding world, but his numbers are inflated, okay? Now, a lot of us back in the day, all jokes aside, we dabbled into, buying the followers and the likes and all that stuff, but it was very expensive. And on top of it, it wasn't reliable because a lot of these platforms were shutting them down. Nowadays, the platforms are like, hey, listen, I guess we're gonna do business with you guys. We'll collect a little bit of the money, and we understand that it's going on, and we'll kind of allow it because as long as it's not causing any kind of worm issues or issues with people's accounts being, deemed, fraudulent, we'll let it roll. I mean, that's just my opinion. When you got the likes of like Kim Kardashian buying followers and, all these movie stars, it's pretty hard not to compete with them, right? At a certain point, you're kind of like, well, what do we do? Well, you insert a guy like Sam Sulek, and, he goes from geek to the Incredible Hulk in a couple months, couple years. His training is really bizarre, and everyone's like, well, just let the kid breathe. Just let him do his thing. I'm not really one to stand by and watch somebody, take on their own demise. I mean, he's not going to listen anyways, because when people promise you stardom and they're giving it to you, you kind of take it. Big Rob, where are you going with all this? Well, if you've got the money, you've got the honey. And so when you see these numbers and everyone's talking about him like, oh, he's got bigger numbers than Rich Piana, well, it's obvious. They're inflated because they're fake. If you look at any of these guys' followings and you just click on their following list, you're going to see a multitude of followers that, one, aren't from this country, not that they can't be, but they don't have any content. They don't even have a thumbnail. They don't have, they're just following people. They're not getting any follows. There's no likes on some of their posts if they have any. And they're just bots. And they're really good bots. Back in the day, it was pretty obvious. Everyone was from Bangladesh, India, and they were pumping them out. And now you got companies that are, they make these accounts up, and they're pretty legit as far as the naked eye can see, because most people aren't going to delve into it. But I'm giving you some inside baseball. When you see numbers like 2.7 million, 3 point something million, that takes a lot of money to buy those types of followers. However, back in the day, that would take you an enormous amount of money. And so you never really saw it because it was too expensive. But nowadays, you can, I'm not going to tell you where to go to do it, but, you get a marketing agent, you get anyone in that realm, they're going to make these followers and likes and all this stuff very cheap. And so I'm not saying that his entire following is fake. I'm just saying that the likes, the views, the comments, there's no way there's over 1 million people that could care about fitness, let alone a guy that just sits in his car like myself and just talks about the fitness world. There aren't over 1 million plus people that care about fitness. Just go to any expo and follow the amount of people that come to these expos, and I'll guarantee you there's not more than 100,000 over a weekend. If there is, it's probably because Rich Piana was at the event and he had a legit following. And that's where it kind of, it's painful to talk about that, because you're talking about a guy that I witnessed firsthand, 5-hour wait lines with no supplements to sell. I really want to say to these guys in today's era, you've got 3.4 million people. Show up at an expo. I want to see 6-hour to 10 to 15-hour wait lines. Double what Rich did with no supplements. Just stand there with yourself. No hype, nothing. Just show up like Rich used to and have a 5-hour wait line. Kids, moms, dads, grandparents, animals, you name it. They were there to see Rich. It wasn't about what he was selling. It wasn't about, he was, everyone's like, oh, well, he was funny, this and that. No, he was real. And, unfortunately, a lot of things went great for him and a lot of things went really bad for him. And the reason why I say unfortunately, because that rise to stardom took on a toll for him. And it was just a ride that he just, wasn't prepared for, man. It's a lot. And maybe it was just his time. Who knows? But please, don't draw the comparison to Sam Sulek to Rich Piana. One, that's disrespectful. Two, it's just downright fucked up. You know what I mean? Rich barely crested 1 million followers at the time of his death. He did all that on hundreds of thousands of followers. Guys, they were legit. You guys were there. Some of you guys that know what I'm talking about were there at the expos and saw it for yourself. The guy would come in and be larger than life. The expo was, in large part, the numbers were there because of Rich Piana. Now you just don't see that draw. There's no one that really, I can't wait to go see Sam Sulek. Just is what it is. A lot of you guys are gonna be like, oh, you're clowning on the kid, this, that, and the other. It's like, well, when we boil down the numbers, he might have a legit 60,000 followers, maybe 50,000. And there are a lot of young, impressionable kids that are going to move on from him once he's boring and old and his talks are old and boring and his workouts are, or he gets sick, or something happens to the poor young man, because no one's going to care. At the end of the day, once he gets, into a position where he's sick or something happens to him, people aren't going to care. And that's just really what happens. And then after a period of time, you're like a fart in the wind. No one really even cares that you existed. So what's it all for? Supplements, views, likes. They're buying them, and that's what they're doing. And I don't care what anyone has to say about it. You can look at the numbers. There's no one that's that important in the fitness world that's going to garner that many people to follow them. Call me a hater, call me what you want. You do the investigative research and you do your numbers. And I'm telling you straight up, a lot of us back in the day did exactly what he's doing, but it was very expensive. So a lot of us didn't really dab into it too long because it was just too expensive and not worth it. And when you look at the numbers and you show up to an expo and there's no one in line to wait for you, it's kind of embarrassing. So that's my 2 cents on that take. And like I said, I'm going to keep the video short, so I'm going to cut it short. But I want to pose this, this test, if you will. If he has 3.4 million followers, that is Sam Sulek, and he's got all these views on YouTube and TikTok and elsewhere, show up to an Arnold, show up to an expo, and don't hype it. Just show up, stand there with a backdrop and pretty basic, and let's see how long your lines are. And that's going to tell you who exactly is following him and who's not. Because I'm telling you, at the end of the day, your fake following will not show up. So it's exciting to see 1 million views when you're buying them. And you can look at that and you can look at it yourself and see the views, you can see the likes, and you can see the accounts for yourself. Now you're going to be limited because I think, I don't know how you fix it where you can see all of them. You can't see all of mine either. But I'll be the first to let you know. It even tells me, like, well, do you beat them? How do you beat them? How do you roll with that when they're so popular and they got such a big cut of the pie? What's the age-old saying? If you can't beat them, join them. Well, maybe that's the mantra. If you can't beat them, join them. So now that the followers are so cheap, maybe I should just buy 300,000-400,000 followers and buy, you know, a couple 100,000 likes and 1 million likes and see where that goes. And that's how you compete in the Kardashian world that we live in. So let the kid breathe. Sure, do all the juice that you want. Be impressionable on kids. I'll tell you, Ronnie Coleman didn't do it. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't do it. You know, Rich Piana kind of opened up that door, but now the entire door's just been kicked down, and it's okay to talk about it. And it's just not, because people are going to get hurt and get sick because they don't know what they're doing. And a lot of people are taking underground stuff and they don't know what they're doing. And it's just this generation, man. It's just taking the fentanyl, taking anything they can do to get that edge. And I don't know if it's okay to let someone just breathe and let someone just have the room to mess up. I think these kids need guidance, and especially at 21, seeing someone getting turned out the way Sam Sulek is rather embarrassing. So, guys, I'm going to end this video on a positive note. We had a new sponsored athlete today. Super happy that she came aboard. She was with us for a period of time in our infancy. She went off on her own, did some things, competed, got engaged, you know, opened up a hair salon. Really big things for her. She's back in the fold. We're super excited to rock with her. And we're looking to just, you know, bigger things in 2024. And I'm linear, so I really just don't see it as like, oh, it's a new year, new me kind of concept bullshit. More so, just excited to turn the page and keep moving forward. You know, here's another chapter that we got to go down and make it possible. So, like I say, you know, not to bash the kid, none of that stuff, but it's just to bring awareness to what's going on. And you're following false prophets and people that are just propped up, man. And at the end of the day, when something happens to them, they're just going to fade away, like I said, like a fart in the wind, bro. And it's going to be pretty sad and pretty tragic. And I'm going to be the one to tell you, I was here trying to sound the alarms, but no one wants to listen. So kind of is what it is. But I'm still going to put out my content and stick to my guns and give you my 2 cents on the situation. So on that note, guys, I hope you're out there staying safe, staying ride or die for yours, and getting out there doing whatever it takes to be successful within reason, and be mindful of those around you. Do the right thing when you can. Till next time, guys, hit up the website, chaosnutrition.com, YouTube 20 will save you 20%. Free shipping all day, every day, to anywhere in the continental U.S. And till next time, guys, I'm Big Rob, and I'm out.